the best know how to do. Jamming gears has got to be your fever, 'cause men become addicted to the grind. It takes a special breed to be a truck driving man, and a steady hand to hold that load behind. Big wheels rolling, moving on. Big wheels rolling, I gotta keep on going. Big wheels rolling, moving on.
What's going on, everybody? Good to see people coming in here. It's nice of y'all. I appreciate it. See if I can somehow get some of this technology to work right. Let's see who's all up in here. Daniel Adami was the first one. Stacy Jeffries, Thomas Wilson, Brent in Florida, Jason Perry, Michael P, Troy. Oh yeah, Troy, you know it's Tony Justice. We got to start every one of these off with Tony Justice. Tony Thomas is getting ready to hook up to a trailer in Fofo, Columbia, South Carolina. Go to, yeah. Yeah, we got to support old Tony Justice. Without a doubt. So, anyway, so, for anybody who's been in trucking for a little while, you know, and I'm going to say a little while being maybe, what's up, Snorlord? Snorlord. Snorlord knows the details of this, obviously, because I work with him, but I'm not going to give out all the details on this because I don't feel like I need to spread names and everything, but I'm going to give you a whopper of a story here, and if, and Snorlord can back me up that this is true, but this would be one of those whoppers of a story that you would hear back in the day sitting at the counter at the truck stop diner, you know, maybe at the TA or the Petro or whatever, sitting around the counter there, and you got all the BSing going on. This would be one of those whoppers, but this one is true today. And Daniel, no, names are unimportant. But anyway, so I delivered up in Wisconsin this morning, and brought a load out of Georgia, and he is using Whopper a lot, and he doesn't eat them. I do eat Whoppers. I do eat Whoppers from time to time. But anyway, so yesterday I found this load, and coming out of Wisconsin, had a couple of pickups on it, one in Illinois, one in Missouri, going down to Oklahoma. And it was 3 pickups, 1 delivery, roughly 900 something miles. Got a really, really, really good rate on it. And so anyway, I made my delivery this morning, and I had about 80 miles to Deadhead, and get to the first pickup, and they say, oh no, that's not going today. Got to do a recount, some clerical issue, whatever. So I call the broker, and he says, oh yeah, this happens from time to time, and so just go on to your second pickup. Don't worry about it. Head on to your second pickup. So I'm like, all right. I get him to send me an email saying that, so that I got a little, you know, coverage for myself and the company on that. Because the next stop, the next pickup, is 220 miles away. You know, we've already deadheaded 80 miles. First stop is a no-go. The next pickup is 220 miles down to Illinois. And I'm like, all right, so send me an email saying go ahead on, don't worry about it, and we'll head on. So he does, no problem. All 3 pickups are for the same customer. And they're the ones who have initiated the shipment. So anyway, head to the second pickup. Now, in total, now remember, this whole entire load, including my deadhead's only 920 miles, roughly. Something like that. So we've already done the 80 miles of deadhead. Now we're going to run 220 down to the second stop. And get down there about 1:30 today. Roll in, knock on the door, tell them, hey, I'm here to pick up such and such, such and such. No, you're telling us a story. There was somebody here early this morning and picked that up. No, I'm here to get it. Well, sure enough, somebody had been there this morning and picked it up. And so I'm like, oh, this has turned to crap already. You know, this is over with. Surely they're not going to send me to the third stop with yet still an empty trailer. And so anyway, call the broker. Hey, you know, I'm here at stop number 2 now, and they're telling me this was picked up this morning. Oh, no. Okay, let me get involved. Let me get up, you know, my boss man, blah, blah. So now I'm, you know, he says, you know, if you hadn't heard from me in 30 minutes, call me back. I'm like, all right. I'm at this point now, I'm like, surely this is the end of the deal. You know, we're not going to continue on here. So I get Jeff on the phone, and I'm like, you know, this is not going to be a $150 truck order not used. So I'm getting his opinion on how much should I ask for if this, you know, goes south and the whole nine. The guy calls me back, and he's like, yep, the customer's good to go. They said it was a mix-up on this one. Head on to the third pickup and just be there in the morning. And I'm like, all right. And so the next pickup is 320 or 30 miles further down the road toward Oklahoma. And so here I'm like, are you serious? You're sure? You know, I need an email saying that for sure. And so he gets his boss, the one who's in cahoots, you know, handles all for this one particular customer. And he sends me an email, says that they have confirmed with the third customer that they have my product. They'll be there for me in the morning and head on down. So now we're going to run, you know, I'm parked for the night. I'm about halfway between stop number 2 and stop number 3. And I have yet to open the doors on the trailer. And it was, when I say it was a really good rate, it was a really good rate for a 900-something mile run. And 600 plus of it is going to be empty. This is one of those stories that, you know, you hear somebody tell at the truck stop, and when they get up and leave out, you are like, that guy's full of crap. He is lying his butt off. There ain't no way. But I swear to you, that's what's going on right now. If you want me to walk back here, I'll show you the empty trailer that I got hooked to me. We've gone, you know, by the time we get to stop number 3, it's going to be over 600 miles empty at the paid rate. And probably never be lucky enough to get something like that again. But, you know, sometimes these things happen. And yeah, I'm seeing it's not April 1st, but Kaislyn, you need to hush yourself. But yeah, I'm not really sure what the deal is. Well, I mean, you know, it's really, it's a weird load to begin with. It's not a standard, you know, load that would imagine would be shipped all the time from these particular places. And honestly, I don't really understand why, you know, you get to the point where you're halfway into the run almost, or at the time I was at stop number 2, I'm a third of the way into the mileage, and we haven't picked up anything yet. And it seems like it would be more economical to pay me for that amount of work and find somebody else to just grab the third stop who's already down there and carry it to Oklahoma. But, you know, hey, whatever. You know, I'm not going to argue with them. They say they're going to just continue on with the load and head on down. We'll head on down, you know. So, yeah, I'm getting awesome fuel mileage. Oh, come on, Snorlord. Customer must have money to burn. Yeah, the load in general, even if there was nothing funky about it, even if it just, you know, I picked up the first stop, picked up the second stop, blah, blah, you know, normal load, if everything went perfect, I would still do the load on a regular basis just because the rate that they paid, you know, for a longer run to get this kind of rate per mile, that's not every day that you see that. So, and it's because of the stops. I don't have a problem with stop loads. The load I've got behind this one's got 8 deliveries on it. I'm not afraid of those. Chicken nuggets in the title. I'm not afraid of a multi-stop load. That's where you drive your rate per mile up, in my opinion. You know, if the market is kind of soft, if you can find a load that's got 2 or 3 pickups or 2 or 3 drops or something, you know, what's going on, TJ? If you find a load that's out of the ordinary, that's not your run-of-the-mill, go and pick it up and go and deliver it, that's how you can really boost your rate per mile up. And so I don't mind the multi-stop, multi-pickup, you know, as long as it's nothing super crazy. Sign me up if it's a good rate for what it is, you know. My next load is a rolling load going to 8 different stops, and roll them to the back, tailgate them off, no big deal. Sign me up. So, you know, even if this load just went perfectly normal, I would do it again just because it's a really good rate for the amount of miles. So, I don't, you know, this is obviously like a once in a million shot to get something like this happen at both the first 2 drops or pickups and be told to continue on at the original rate, which obviously I wasn't going to take a reduction in the rate, which they didn't mention that. That was never brought up. Kid grabbers in the house. But, you know, this is a once in a I don't even know, million. But to have something go wrong at the first and the second stop and then be told to continue on, that's like, I was blown away by it. So, you know, 40 to 80 stops hauling for a shoe distributor and come back empty. Made crazy money on stops. Huh. Yeah, the multi-stop deal, that's you know, not all of them are created equal by any means, because some of them are going to have crazy windows or crazy just things that are going on with the stops that make it not feasible or not profitable to do. But for the most part, most of the multi-drop, multi-pickup, or whatever loads that I have found and have done, they have been well worth the extra work that's involved because of the boost in the rate that you can negotiate because of the extra stops after extra pickups. Rumor has it that it's a Bellaflor load. I am not hauling for Bellaflor, for one. But most stops on load for me is 6. Up to this point, well, I can't say that. In the spot market, the most drops I've had so far has been 5. Yeah, Jeff's in the house. Yeah, in the spot market, the most drops I've had has been 5. But now, in previous endeavors, back in the day, I worked for a private fleet, and there was we hauled curtain flatbeds to mobile home companies delivering molding and interior doors. And there was some loads we'd go out with 14 or 15, 16 drops on one trailer. You know, they might one drop might get 1 box, you know. So, anyway, but yeah, it's Always something different, though. It's always something different. That's one thing for sure about the spot market. You can always find something different. What if there's no pickup in the morning? Well, Thomas Wilson, I don't know. I was assured that the customer has the product. So we'll go with that. Did a load from Ohio, planted in pots, and delivered to 6 greenhouse facilities in Washington. Yeah, the plant loads, I did a tree load here a couple of weeks back. I guess it might have been a month now. All right, Daniel, take it easy. I did a tree load. It was a load of trees on pallets. They weren't big, huge trees like you see on a flatbed. Yeah, Clyde, I kind of agree with that. I think that this is kind of a normal deal with this particular customer, and this broker handles these shipments for them. And they, based on what I was told at the first pickup this morning, miscommunication in whether or not the shipments are going to go is kind of normal. So I guess it's like their normal mode of operation. Well, it ain't ready, just head on to the next one. But whatever. So I lost my total train of thought there. Oh yeah, the tree load. You know, I did a tree load, I guess it was about a month ago, and it wasn't a bad deal. That was the one that had 5 stops on it. Now, it got my floor kind of dirty and messy because it was trees on pallets, and they had been... The trees and the pallets didn't make my floor dirty. What made my floor dirty was it was an outside dock at a tree farm, and when they brought the pallets to the dock area was surrounded by dirt. And where they staged my pallets, it was like they set the pallets down and then brought the next pallet and set it behind it and pushed it forward, and brought another pallet and set it down and pushed it forward, and kept on until they had a long enough row, and then they started another row and did the same thing. And so when you slide a pallet with, 1,000, 1,500 pounds of weight sitting on it through the dirt, what happens? It's like a bulldozer. All the dirt and mud and rocks, they gather on top of all the bottom boards of the pallet. So then they pick the pallet up, put it in the truck, and it bounces and rides, and it all ended up in the floor of the trailer. The pallets and the trees themselves wasn't that big a deal. It was what was on the pallet that made a huge mess. But the stops weren't big deal, and multi-stop loads for me have worked out good so far. I haven't been held up. Now, I'll knock on this fake wood steering wheel right now because that can happen at any time. But to me, it's an easy way to get extra rate per mile as long as it makes sense, Yeah, you're doing more work, so you get paid for it. If you're not willing, if you're not afraid of doing a little extra work on the extra stops, you're going to make more money per mile because you're doing more for it. It's pretty much simple as that. So I like the multi-stop loads as long as they're not crazy and have some weird something going on with them. Sign me up. So, but yeah, on this deal here today, that was just, the more the day progressed and things went down, I was like, this is turning into one of those stories that you hear at the truck stop dinner table, and the guy's just going on and on about this long drawn out, and I tried to condense it down and not put any names out there because that's unimportant. But when you hear one of these whoppers like this, and that's what it is, it's almost unbelievable. It really is. But I'm living one today and tomorrow, I guess. So Caitlin gets $35 per stop. That's pretty good. Maybe not. Sorry. I guess it depends on how many extra stops it is. Snorlord says he used to do multi-stop loads of shopping carts at Landstar. Fun times. Yeah, I've heard that they are pretty fun. Depending on, you know, everybody's seen that video out there on YouTube of the guy pulling away from the dock and all the shopping carts, like in a coordinated wave flowing out the back of the trailer onto the ground there, away from the dock. That's got to be a fun time. Kaislin said he had a 3-stop load I hated: Chicago, Detroit, and Rochester. Yeah, I don't think I would have signed up for that one. Probably not, because I don't do Chicago proper, and I'm most likely not going to do Detroit proper. And Rochester, I don't think so. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that Brent jumped out. I would do a 10-stop load that goes across the country. That would pay so good here. Yeah. You know, when you're on a system where you get paid by the mile, you know, the long mile loads, and throw in some extra drops in there, you can really boost up your, you know, even on a you know, and this is not picking on anybody, okay? This is simple an analysis of the situation. Even on a mileage-based system, if you can throw in some extra drops, yes, it's a little extra work, but you're throwing in a little bit of, you know, extra revenue there. Let's say you know, if for easy numbers, if you're getting $1.25 with your fuel surcharge on a 1,000-mile run, you know, that's $1,250. But if you start throwing in, say, 5 or 6 extra stops at $35 a drop, well, now, you know, quickly you've almost added, if it's 5 drops, you've almost added $200 to your run. So now that $1,250 run is now almost $1,500 run. You've just upped your rate per mile that you can't do because you're on a mileage pay system where it's a set rate per mile. But by having those extra drops, you just got to raise on your rate per mile effectively, because you did the extra work and made the extra drops. So, you know, even on a mileage based system, which I wouldn't recommend doing, but even on one of those, the extra drops make it profitable. Harold, what are the average rates that you have seen in the last 30 days in and around Atlanta? Thomas, the rates, well, I mean, it all depends. There's so many variables, and Lord knows Jeff would be the better person to explain this in the best way, but I'll do the best justice to it that I can. The longer the load, typically the less it pays, because they have to incentivize people to haul a shorter run. You know, they have to get people interested to haul shorter runs. I typically like the longer runs. Because I live in the South, it's easy for me to run south to north and then turn around and go back south. I'm usually able to beat down the phone lines and just make call after call after call, and eventually I'll find my 1,000, 1,200 mile load that I'm able to get 250, 260, 270 sometimes a mile, sometimes even more. The 10 drop load, or the 8 drop load that I'm doing on my next load, it's considerably more than that, but it's got 8 drops on it. So, you know, it has a good rate per mile for the mileage, and then you add on, you know, some consideration for all the drops, and it boosts the rate up even higher. So, you know, I'm able to get out of the South. Now, I haven't actually done anything around Atlanta proper. I try to avoid that. I'm more in the South Georgia, or maybe East Georgia, over around Augusta. I have delivered a couple of times. I haven't done anything around Atlanta proper, or even say Conyers or Covington or Duluth or anything around that area, Kennesaw. Nothing up in that area. I'm mostly down in Southwest Georgia, dropping and picking up, or I've done a couple over in East Georgia, over around the Augusta area. And the rates, it's all in what you make it. If you want to be the person that calls one or two brokers and be done with it, well, yeah, you might get lucky and get that broker he really needs to move a load, and you'll get a good rate. And you might not, and you'll get the broker who he doesn't have a fire under himself to move it. So I'm the person who says, okay, I appreciate it, I'm gonna call the next guy, and I'll call and call and call, and if I don't like the rate and it doesn't meet what I want to make, I'll call the next one. And so far, I've only been doing this 6 weeks, maybe 7 now. So far I've not had a problem getting the rate I wanted. I may have had to make 100 calls to get that load that made the rate that I wanted, but up to now I have not had a point where I could not get the rate I wanted on some load. And so I try not to run for cheap. The only time I'm going to even consider it is if it's down to the wire to get home and it's a I've got to be home situation. Then we'll loosen up our standard to make that happen. But other than that, I typically run for 2 weeks, and so I kind of stick with my rate, and I go where the money goes. And because I'm out for 2 weeks, I kind of have that freedom to not be confined to a certain area and be stuck with what rates I'm offered at that. So I kind of just go where the money goes, and then at the the first part of the second week, then I start trying to aim the truck towards South Georgia. So like next week, I'm going to end up Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning in Northern Ohio, and I know a broker who's got a load I've hauled twice already, and he calls me occasionally with this same load, and it goes 40 miles from the house. So probably tomorrow I'm going to call him up and say, hey, I'm going to be in Ohio Tuesday morning, midday or so, looking for the load. Do you have it? If he's got it, we'll set it up, and that'll put me home on Thursday when I want to be there. So if he doesn't, Northern Ohio is a hot area, and so I don't have I booked this load going there, for one, because I know that there's that load there occasionally, and I've hauled it twice, and he's called me twice, 2 other times about hauling it, and I just wasn't in the area. So I don't have a worry about going to that area, because for one, I have that load that I'm not banking on, but I'm going to call and check and see if it's available. But for 2, the Northern Ohio area on 75, it's covered up in freight, so not a worry about getting to the house. So I just went ahead and booked the load going there, because I'm not concerned about making it back home by next. Technically, I don't even have to be there till Friday midday. I want to be home Thursday, but so it's not going to be an issue. Little Viking coach is in the house. He says, so trucking is a profit deal. No. Why would you ever guess that? Profit deal. Yeah. Some people say you can make a profit in this business. That's no problem, Thomas. I don't really know that was the correct answer, but it's my answer that was, that's kind of the way I look at it. And I haven't had a problem yet, so. Well, since Jeff is still in the house, let's talk about a totally different subject here. I'm going to shift the subject, and this is because I see Jeff's in the house, and I'm going to talk about MPGs, miles per gallon. Because honestly, I made a comment in Jeff's live feed this morning, right at the tail end. I don't think he saw it, and he got offline. But honestly, the way I've been running lately and the fuel mileage I've been getting with this Peterbilt, if this is going to keep up, I might as well go and get me a long hood, flat top, good looking truck, because it ain't getting much better fuel mileage than what one of those is going to get. I'm thinking about it, because I'm spending a lot of time at the fuel pump, and I ain't got one of those pretty stretched out long large cars, but I'm still spending a lot of time at the fuel pump. So what do you think about that? Well, it might be Leadfoot. I don't run any faster than the speed limit, though. Snowlord, I would consider a cab over, but they're all too old, and I don't want some old junkety thing that I got to be worried about breaking down all the time. I would love to have a cab over as like a second truck and just run it every now and then. Gear Grabber runs 64. Well, Gear Grabber, you run 64 and you ain't getting no better fuel mileage than I am, are you? Jeff says get a fuel efficient truck. But see, the way I kind of look at it, I'm still making good money with this suckety fuel mileage. So if I can make good money with the suckety fuel mileage, I might as well look pretty doing it, right? Get me big old W900 with the, 280 wheelbase or whatever. I got a friend that traded his 389 in for a 579, and now he is getting 8 and 7.5 out of his 579, and his 389 he was getting 5.5 and 6.5. See, 389, big long hood, square, no aerodynamics, and he's getting almost the same fuel mileage I'm getting with this little rounded nose, big wing on the top of it, and I'm only getting about 6.62. Yeah, Jeff, I ain't scared of you having the numbers. I know you got the numbers. You got this little black box hooked to my truck. If I was scared of you knowing the numbers, I wouldn't run them. You know I don't run. Let's see. Gear Grabber says I sound like Roscoe now. Yeah, I was looking on truck paper today. There's a brand new it's a brand new, well, see, this one don't have no chrome on it. See, this one, it don't have any chrome on it hardly at all yet. Man, there was a brand new W900 on the truck paper today. Had the 72-inch high rise and no air fairings on the back of it. I would not dare. What's going on, Craig? No air fairings, 280 wheelbase, stretched out. Boy, you know that would look good. Ride good too. Wouldn't get hardly any worse fuel mileage than what I'm getting with this thing, I'd imagine. Heck, it can't get too much worse. Jeff, if I did that, I feel like I'd have to turn in my trucker card. I feel like I'd have to turn over the trucker card and just admit, I don't know what I'd be admitting, but I wouldn't feel good about it. I'd probably feel about almost like those guys that drive Ram trucks. I'd probably feel about like that. I just couldn't go there. Yeah, it would give me a complex. It give me a mental disorder, I believe. Caislin's getting 8 to 10 in his T680. I mean, that don't doubt me. I understand that that's good fuel mileage, and that, you know, obviously the better fuel mileage you get, the less money you spend on fuel equals the more money in your pocket. I'm not dumb to that fact. Western Star 5700 XE. Snorlord. Wait, I need to look and see if my ELD is still functioning over here. Kenworth and Peterbilt have a 5-foot height requirement. You know, the guy with the arm stretched out says if you are this tall, you can drive. You know, I think I saw as part of the option list on that new W9 that it had the electric, you know, the electric fold-down running board underneath the bottom of the normal step, and that was like deal, you know, sealed the deal for me. Open the door, and that little electric step popped down. Whew, I was ready to get the loan right then. Well, see, Gear Grabber, that's true. That is true. I get a complex and a bigger check. But here's the thing about it. At Light Trucking, and the way Jeff has this set up, I make plenty enough money as it is now. I kind of need the big fuel tax write-off. So if I can make the same amount of money and ride in style, that sounds like a win-win, right? Come on, agree with me. That sounds like a win-win. You're supposed to say, yeah. Well, that might be true, Benjamin Duke, but I've got an emissions truck now. You know, I've got a 2012. It's got all the same stuff on it. It's just got a lot of miles on it. I could easily be in the shop tomorrow. I knock on this steering wheel again to make sure, you know, hopefully I'm not. It's no guarantee with the one I got. Snorlord, come on. Come on. No, if I had a truck that was already getting 8 or 9 or 10 miles to the gallon, it would really make no sense to go to a truck that got 5.5 or 6. But the fact of the matter is, I'm already driving a truck that gets 6 miles to the gallon. We have ProStars, Volvos, and Freightliner. Transportation manager said in the meeting that the Volvos had the best cost per mile to operate, at least downtime. What's going on, Juan? We're just in here talking about everything and anything. I actually do like those new Macs, Snorlord. They're not as, you know, of the newer style trucks, you know, if I had to say, like, say a new Cascadia or a new, you know, T680 or a Pete 579 or the new Volvo, honestly, I'm a Peterbilt kind of a person. I just like Peterbilt trucks. I think I would probably first buy, if I was buying one of the new style trucks, I would first buy a 579 because they're way more aerodynamical and get way better fuel mileage than this 386 I'm riding in. If that was my goal of why I was purchasing the truck. But I like the Macs. The Macs look good, and if I wasn't buying a 579, I think a Mac would probably be my number 2 choice. All right, Thomas, I see you're headed out. Good to have you in here. I appreciate it. Let's see. Gear Grabber said, I saved him $100 of having to pay Roscoe, even with that fuel hog. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And we're only, what, 3 weeks into the second month of the quarter, and I think that competition is long been over. Juan's talking to Jeff. Thomas is out and about. Juan's going to extend an olive branch. I'm curious to see what this is. Going to extend an olive branch to me as far as the country music goes. So we'll see what he's got to say. Benjamin says, in some business models, you get what you can, then move up as you learn from your mistakes or efforts to do better. Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with that train of thought. That's perfectly normal. You know. I like the truck I'm driving in. Knocking on this steering wheel again. I haven't had any major problems out of it, and nearly 100,000 miles. Done my maintenance. I had one sensor go bad that caused the check engine light to come on, and it ran pretty rough for a little while until I changed the sensor. But other than that, she's been good to go. Juan says he heard a song named Tennessee Whiskey. I actually enjoyed it. Well, it depends on which version you heard. If you heard the Chris Stapleton version, that's the new version. A couple of years old, I guess. Probably about 2 years old now. I like that version. But you should also go and listen to the original version by George Jones. I happen to like that one a lot better. I cannot play that as an intro because I don't have any permission to. Tony Justice gave me permission to use his music through direct message at the intro of the video, and I happen to like Tony Justice as a person, having met him, and I like to promote him. So James was whipped so bad he won't even show up in your live feed. You know what's funny about that? I was on the phone with him, Jeff, as I pulled in here tonight to get shut down, and the son walked in and was asking him about going to get ice cream. And I think the consensus was, when I was getting off the phone, that they were headed out to get ice cream. I'm almost certain of it. I think he was going to bend that elbow and put the hand in the back pocket for the wallet and go and get some ice cream for the son. I think he was. Snorlord's giving me permission to use apnea music, and although I appreciate that, I'll have to check it out, Snorlord. Where can I find it? Where can I find the music to even hear it? Hank Snow, I like some of Hank Snow. I'm not, that's getting back into the 50s, and that's a little far back from me. I'm more the 60s, 70s, 80s kind of country person. Jeffrey, can you call me? Troy, Tony has a Texas kind of a Texas two-step kind of. There's another term for that. There's a term for Texas-style country music. Texas swing, maybe, is what it's called. Tony's got a song like that. Now, I might play that the next time I do a live feed. I'll pull that one up. It's called Truckin' Across Texas. And it's kind of got a Texas country swing kind of sound to it. Yeah. He's got one. If you look it up, you can. It's called Truckin' Across Texas by Tony Justice. Juan says you can play music as long as you talk over it. Yeah, I don't ever put it into the background or like edit it into a video. For one, you'll never see an edited video from me. I'm not the person who's going to be spending a lot of time on a computer editing videos and, doing all. Not happening. For one, I'm not that technology person who's mentally advanced enough for that. I'm just an old truck driver. So that won't be happening. So we'll just have a little music playing on the stereo in the truck in the beginning of a live feed, and that's about the extent that it's going to be. But anyhow, guys, it's been 45 minutes, and I think this is the most people I've held on a live feed. Play some Johnny Cash, and we can call it even. All right. We'll have to look into that. Tony is really good, though. If you like Johnny Cash, and if you like Chris Stapleton, you really should listen to some Tony Justice. I mean, you're right in that neighborhood. It's just... Jeff, you're letting the cat out the bag. I gave no details other than blanket statements. So, anyway, if you like Johnny Cash and Chris Stapleton, you should really listen to some Tony Justice, because you're in that neighborhood. He's right there with you. So, and he's a truck driver. Come on, you got to support the fellow truck drivers, right? But anyway, I appreciate it, guys. I'm about to get ready to go to bed. I got a long, hard day tomorrow. Hopefully, I get stop number 3 to pick up, and we head on down. Yeah, Benjamin, I do have an APU, and I'm still getting 6 to 6.23, something like that. Caislin's about to go postal. The planners just changed my PTA without my permission. What's PTA, Caislin? What's PTA in the Swift world? I don't know. Juan's telling me that he only likes that song, Don't Get Carried Away. Gear Grabber's line saying he's at 7+ now. He must be, 7+, coasting downhill all the time. Okay, I'll give you that. Projected time of arrival. Okay, so like ETA, Caislin's ETA was adjusted without his permission. Michael P. living on Tulsa time. Oh yeah, now you're talking about some Don Williams. We can put Don Williams on and ride for several hours. Jeff can verify with fuel report. What, he can verify with fuel report that you're doing 55 all the time now? Is that how you're achieving 7 miles a gallon? You book loads that are 200 miles in 3 days to do them? I'm just messing with you. Jeff says he's getting 8 miles a gallon. I believe it. My truck is not a fuel mileage truck. And that's what I was saying. I'm not like I'm giving up anything to go to a long hood truck, because I already don't get fuel mileage. So it's not like I'm giving that up to go backwards to a truck that doesn't get fuel mileage, because I'm already there. Oh yeah, Gear Grabber, I wish I did so bad. I go to bed every night just dreaming and wishing I had a ProStar, just praying that someday that somebody would come in and just roll my old Peterbilt out of the way and put me a ProStar in this spot. Have you used the power and have low rolling tires? What, used the power? I don't know what that means. Oh, have I upped the power? This is set at its maximum setting. I didn't realize it. The Cummins ISX 15-liter has 2 different engines. There's actually 2 different versions of the 15-liter ISX. One of the versions has smaller internals. It has bigger liners and smaller injectors, smaller fuel pump. Pale Rider is selling his. I offered Pale Rider $2 and a month's worth of coffee and a gold-plated Casio digital watch, and he didn't take me up on it. So that was like my top, over the top bid for the over-the-top bid for the ProStar. You know, $2 a month of coffee and the digital gold-plated Casio watch. He didn't go for it though, so I guess he needs a couple, $3 or $4 or $5 more, So I don't know. Yeah, Gear Grabber, I thought that was on the top list. I threw in the Casio watch in my bid there that night. It was on Snorlord's live feed. I threw in the Casio watch because there was somebody else. There was somebody else that had put out there about a moped, and Pale Rider was looking kind of interested in that moped, and so I threw in the Casio watch, thinking that might sway him to my bid, but he said no, and he was more interested in the moped. But then later, the moped was retracted. Like, the guy said, no, I'm going to have to rescind my offer. And so I was like, hey, Pale Rider, the moped's off the table now, and so I'm going to have to, maybe keep my watch, and I'll just still do the $2 in the month of coffee. And, he said he couldn't do that. So, I needed to keep my Casio watch for making sure I don't go over on my 8-hour break, and miss my 30-minute break there, because we can't be having that. So, I had to keep the old Casio watch, and without that in the mix, I couldn't get the old ProStar. So I'm going to have to keep riding in the Peterbilt for now. Yeah, Benjamin, on the ISX, so basically you've got two different engine setups with as far as fuel pumps and injectors. It's just like with the new ones that they've got now. If you look at the new X15 line, they've got an economy version and they got a performance version, I think they call it. Don't quote me on that. But if you look at the new X15, which is basically a renamed ISX for 2018 models, they've got the economy version and the performance version. And the economy version only goes to, I think, 450 horse and 1750 foot-pounds, where the performance version is still a 15-liter, just like the economy version, but it's all the, it's more beefier internals for handling a lot more power, bigger fuel pumps, bigger injectors. The performance version will go to 600 horse, 2050 foot-pounds of torque. Well, my engine is the economy version. It came with, from the factory, it came with 400 horse and 1550 foot-pounds of torque. The dealer I bought it from, before I ever saw the truck, it was turned up to 450 and 1750. So, and it pulls fine. I mean, really and truly, with 450 and 1750, this truck's got a 342 rear end in it, which is not the most fuel efficient rear end, but it's not like the old days of the 370s and whatnot. So it pulls pretty good, but she's thirsty. She's thirsty. Now, granted, if I had light loads and ran 60 miles an hour all the time, it probably gets 7.5. But a lot of the time, in order to get the good rates I'm getting, I'm pulling heavy loads, and I'm not bashful with the fuel pedal. I'll run 70 miles an hour. So I'm getting 6 miles to the gallon. Yeah, I don't think there was a whole lot of change in the engine. I think it was some computer controls. They did change the after treatment system. There was a major change with that. I think that was the majority of it. But I mean, honestly though, I don't, I guess it's kind of a blessing that I have the economy version, because if you look at any of these, if you go out into the truck paper and look at any of these, like 2014, 2013, 15 Peterbilts and Kenworths that have the higher horsepower ISX engines in them, a lot of them have, say, 400 to 500, 600,000 miles on them, and they say in the ad that they've had a rebuild, and it's because the performance version, had a fuel pump issue that allowed the roller to break off and go down into the block and trash the motor. So I'm kind of glad in some ways that I've got the economy version now. Jeff, I'm going to screenshot that. And take that as permission now. Don't try me on that. Benjamin says change the rears out, exhaust changed out, and do a cost comparison. Well, now see, with the exhaust, you've got your it's got the full exhaust after treatment, DPF, DOC, and all that. Don't try to delete that either, Jeff. I've already screenshotted it. It's already done. But anyway, yeah, so, my wheels are starting to turn, and never know. I might be able to talk the wife into one. He is running 82. I have to talk to safety about that. Hey, the world saw it. I have a screenshot. The boss said to try it. So we're going to have to experiment with that and see if I'm able to get good fuel mileage at those speeds, because the boss said try. So we'll get out here tomorrow. Maybe we'll try that through downtown St. Louis and see what kind of fuel mileage we can get with that. And it might work. It might work, because we'll be just going so fast that the wind resistance will just like part in front of us, because we'll get like a bubble. If we get to a certain speed, we'll create like a bubble effect like the NASCAR guys do. And the bubble in front, the bubble in front will like part the air for us. And then we won't have any wind resistance. Maybe that's a good experiment to try. What's going on, Michael Dow? Make sure your next truck you can see the mirrors. Well, that's probably going to be an issue with any truck. Save your money up, then get a better outfit. Rates will fall in time. I don't know about that. That's another whole topic for another whole day. It's a matter of opinion, and make sure your neck, yeah. Not nice, not nice. Need the phone book for the seat in the new truck. Yeah, what I'm thinking is, regardless of what truck I get, I'm going to have them, if I order a truck, I'm going to have them include 3 seat cushions. I'll have 2 seats in the truck, a driver's seat and a passenger seat, and I'll just have them include a 3rd seat bottom, and that way, I can stack it on the driver's side to, give me that little boost there. Well, see, Gear Grabber, you start doing things like that, and you start moving to where you can't touch the pedals. So there's a happy medium there, and sometimes you have to take give and take. Do I want to see the hood mirrors, or do I want to be able to push the pedal? Right? Pedals, hood mirrors. It's kind of a Michael Dow, we will be camping Memorial Day weekend. Now, Memorial Day itself, we'll probably be home. No, Gear Grabber, we have no problems hitting the right pedal. No. We give up the hood mirrors to be able to maintain right-hand pedal flat to the floor. Michael Dow, yeah, we're going camping Memorial Day weekend. I'm staying out this weekend and going home next Thursday, hopefully. And we've got a little trip down about an hour and 15-20 minutes away, just down to a campground in Valdosta. Nothing real special about the campground. They do have a pool, But the main thing is we're going to take the kids over to Wild Adventures. It's a theme park in Valdosta, Georgia, there, right off I-75. And 300 miles for $13.50, Dallas to Amarillo. That's a pretty good rate. If you can find something out of Amarillo, that's pretty good. That's really good if you can get something back out of Amarillo. But yeah, that's the plan for Memorial Day. We're going to do a little camp trip down and go to Wild Adventures. Get probably fried in the sun. Memorial Day weekend in extreme South Georgia. Sounds like lots of sunscreen and bug spray to me. That's what it sounds like. But anyway, we're going to slide out of here. It's been an hour, and that's way too long. So, gear grabber is 36. It's a 36 foot. Benjamin's got a 97 with an old Series 60 12.7, 4 years. I have 45,000 in it with an engine rebuild. It still moves from point A to B under 85 miles per hour. I have 5 friends with newer truck, always broken down with technology. Yeah, there's something to be said for the old 12.7 Detroit. I had one in a Freightliner Classic XL, and it was a damn good engine. I'll tell you that right now. They're legendary. Don't get burnt like Roscoe. No, we'll try not to. Did Roscoe get burnt? I didn't realize he got burnt somewhere. Unless he got burnt in his wallet, you know, maybe going to get ice cream or something. That would probably feel like to him he got mugged. But anyhow, we're going to slide on out. Like I said, it's been over an hour. That's way too long. I appreciate y'all tuning in and chatting with me, keeping me company tonight, passing the time, listening to my whopper of a story, and then listening to my rantings about spending money on a bunch of fuel. Roscoe got too much sun last weekend. All right. Well, I'll have to rag him about that tomorrow. Peace out, everybody. Snorlord, call me tomorrow. We'll try to meet up. And Gear Grabber's out of here. I'm out of here. Benjamin's out of there. Just think about you need to do better. Benjamin, I appreciate the downer talk all the time. I appreciate it. You know, keep me in line there. Keep me in check. That's a great thing. So, y'all have a good one. We will see y'all later. And we're out of here.